Nelson, Asheville, North Carolina. Dogs, I love dogs, gardening, hiking, biking, being outdoors primarily is what I try to spend most of my time doing. And then I do a lot of reading and educating myself on geopolitics, history, human evolution, migration, and ancient civilizations. I got into real estate because my family's been in it for generations. Two of my four great-grandfathers were builders and developers. Both of my grandfathers were builders and developers and a broker, and my father was a broker, and my cousins and my uncles and brothers and appraisers, builders, brokers. So I've been in real estate all my life, really. It's been a long journey because I got into it so young as a broker. Folks really wouldn't listen to anything I had to say. I didn't know as much as I thought I knew, but I knew enough to do a good job. But it was hard as a very young person to get people to listen at all. So I got into building. I got into constructing homes, and from there I got into development. From there, I just enjoy building projects, and that's really what I enjoyed. But the situation I found myself in is I went back into real estate brokerage to make money and to establish some financial freedom for the later part of my life. But I was with a great little boutique brokerage that Brent Besosa and Kathy Besosa and I were both members of that firm. I was there before them, and there wasn't a lot of support. There just wasn't any lead generation to speak of. So I didn't know what to do. I went to home inspection school to become home inspector, and I was going to consider either quitting real estate brokerage after 3 years of being unproductive or doing a discount brokerage. When I went to a Christmas party for our company, for our firm, and I ran into Brent and Kathy Besosa there, and especially Brent, and he asked me what my goals were for the year, and I just told him that I was going to quit or do discount. And he said, well, why would you do that? And he showed me 203 leads on his phone. And that was kind of the beginning of a change for me, where I realized there is a way for me to become successful. Brent and Kathy eventually left that firm. I think I had already left it just maybe a month before or something, and called me and talked to me about this new concept of eXp Realty. And I didn't really understand it fully then, but I was open to the idea, and I liked a lot about what I heard, especially about people sharing information, vital information on how to be successful, specific information on what to do to be successful. Because I've been in real estate a long time, and it's a dog-eat-dog world, and no one shares anything that makes them successful because they see you as competition, which you are in other companies. It got to the point, frankly, where I just knew there was no way for me to make money in real estate unless I was willing to spend $3,000 or $4,000 a month on lead generation, which I couldn't afford. And so what kept me up at night and what stressed me out was thinking there was really no hope for me to make it in real estate. I couldn't get to the point I needed to get to, meaning have enough capital to start building houses, remodeling, developing. And I wanted to sell real estate and be a broker to generate capital. But there was no way for me to be successful at it without being on a team. I would have had to go to a team and just been a listing or a selling agent and been pigeonholed in that, or go out and spend a fortune on lead generation, which I couldn't do. So I really saw no way out for me to become successful, just to get over that little hump. I knew if I could get over that hump, I'd be in the clear, but I couldn't get over that little initial hump, and that was scary. Yeah, well, Brent and Kathy showed me that there's very simple, systematic ways that are reasonable, cost-effective, and time-effective that would allow me to see real results, you know, where I knew if I put a certain amount of time and money in, that a certain amount of things would come out. The metrics were there. It was proven systems that worked. And everybody has a lead generation system, but you just don't know what's going to work and what doesn't until you try it. I call my buddies in Wilmington and talk to them about their lead generation systems. One's on a big team, second most powerful team in North Carolina. But he doesn't know anything about their lead generation because all he does is sell. He's on a team. My other friend that does his own lead generation, he tells me the litany of lead generation machines he's gone through, platforms he's gone through to try to find the ones that work cost effectively. And these things change constantly. So as a person like myself, it's really hard to figure out really hard for a person like myself to figure out, without Brent and Kathy, to figure out what lead generation systems work, what CRMs work, how to use them effectively. I just couldn't do it all on my own. It would be impossible. I can't do that and become an internet technology lead generation guru, become a software and networking expert, and continue to do real estate brokerage work. It's almost like you have to wear 3 or 4 hats now to be successful. I'm not afraid to work, but there comes a point where there's just literally not enough time in the week. And without Brent and Kathy kind of trailblazing, leading the way, and saying, well, this works, this doesn't work, this is the Zoom meeting we went to, this is the coach we hired that we paid a lot of money to tell us how to make things work, and then sharing that with us. And then that allows me to have hope that, I can do this without wasting my time, without just treading water and sinking and coming up for air, but to actually move forward, and to make money and to be successful. Where I'm at now in my real estate business is I sat down, I guess about a month ago, and I wrote down a business plan for 2 days and decided exactly what I needed to do surgically in order to achieve certain results, financial results, commissions. And I think I'm about 35 days in, and I've got between $50,000 and over $100,000 in commissions in the pipeline. And that surprised even me. I've been wildly successful in real estate and in development and building, and I can't believe it. My girlfriend can't believe it. It's amazing how it's worked. So I'm just very thankful. My goal, my ultimate end game with all of this is to be able to coach and mentor and attract other agents like Brent and Kathy did for me, because it changed my life. I was having medical problems, couldn't use my hands, couldn't pay my mortgage, things were bad. And that was last year. And this year, I've lost 55 pounds, I can use my hands, my brain's working, I'm making money, and my goal, literally, not to virtue signal or anything like that, just straight up, my goal is to make money for myself, become financially free, and to help other people change their lives in real estate who are out there busting their butts at other companies and not able to make it because they're just missing a couple little parts that we can show them. And if they're willing to learn and they're willing to implement it, they can change their lives like Brent and Kathy helped me change my life. So that's really what I want to be able to do. Of course, I'll keep selling real estate to friends and family, but I won't be out hustling deals and trying to find the next buyer or seller around the corner and grabbing anybody I can. I've gotten to the point already where I don't have to do that. So my goal is basically to get into a position of attracting other agents to EXP and to share the information that we have to help make them successful.
Is there anything specifically as far as the training or the systems, whether it be QBP, that question-based prospecting,
right,
or whether it be the home buyer funnel, or things particularly for paperwork, or lead gen, what to say when, and those types of things that you found helpful?
Yes, specifically the training that I found helpful, and you have to remember the context from which I come into this. I trained people for years. I worked as an employee in gated communities that were large, that had marketing budgets of $30 million. I don't mean to sound like a big shot when I say that. It had very little to do with me. I ended up managing those salespeople in those companies and writing scripts and training people on the phone and doing all that. So I came to it from a perspective of already having a pretty good skill set in real estate, having done this in a lot of different ways for 35 years. But I didn't understand the technology and how to utilize the technology effectively and efficiently without wasting time and money. And that was probably one of the biggest things that Brent and Kathy helped me with. I understood the concept of the funnel approach, but understanding how that is applied directly to this digital marketing and to KV Core is a different story. So those things helped me out tremendously. Also, going back to the beginning, we are a technology company that happens to sell real estate. Well, with that comes a lot of technology. I didn't even have a computer that worked. My hands didn't work to work on the computer. So I didn't have any knowledge of how to use a computer. I had assistants. I had what we called secretaries. I mean, you may not have heard of that, but there used to be something we called secretaries back in the day. I had secretaries. I didn't fool with computers at all. I could teach you a tutorial on a BlackBerry, but I didn't know how to use a computer. I didn't learn to cut and paste until about 5 years ago, and I didn't learn much after that. So Brent and Kathy were pretty patient with me, but also showed me how to harness the technology and how to get just enough information as a Luddite as I am to really learn enough on the computer to where now I'm not scared of it. I can embrace it, and I go to it every day. It's just a part of the rhythm of my day to make my life easier, really, and more productive. So going back to the beginning of when I joined EXP under Kathy and Brent, the onboarding process was pretty onerous for me, and it would have been a lot worse if it hadn't have been for Brent and Kathy. So I think going back to the very beginning, Brent and Kathy helped me through the onboarding process to get me up and running, and then to show me how different CRMs work and how to use KV Core and how to do the digital marketing and how to handle the buyers and how to do the videos, whether they're super glossy and professional or they're just full of good value and information for potential buyers and sellers. So the trainings have been really important for me, even though I've got tons of experience in real estate in general. We come in here to shoot this video this morning, right? We end up talking about more trailblazing stuff that you've done, that Brent Besosa has done. Now you're relentless. You go out there, you hire coaches, you go to Zoom meetings, you find out tons of information. I'm so thankful that you're my sponsor, because you find out tons of information that I would never find out. My goal, as I said, is to be a great recruiter and to coach and mentor people to help change their lives, to provide them with financial freedom for their families and themselves and for myself. But I still want to sell real estate. I definitely do not want to just have a list of a ton of buyers, because there's nothing to buy. So I got options. My options are go out and build a bunch of houses, which I know how to do, and I've been thinking very seriously about it. I've put together all the parts to be able to build houses. But I don't really want to build houses. I've done that a lot. I really don't want to build houses. So we get into a conversation this morning before shooting this video, and I found out from Brent about how we can generate leads, but not buyer leads. How we can generate listing leads. And that's really what you need in this marketplace right now, where you can adapt, use the technology in a way, harness the technology in a way, collaborate with other people that are doing this in a way to find out how you can exploit the system that exists today in a very healthy way. People take that word exploit the wrong way a lot of times, but exploit it in a healthy way to make yourself more competitive. Everybody has buyers. Nobody has listings. Everybody wants listings. No one can get listings. There are ways and there are systems and technology can help where you can get a lot more listings. And out of that, you'll be wildly successful. So Brent has today, right before we shot this video, explained to me an entire system that he's come up with through talking with other people at EXP who are in this culture of sharing information. Even if we don't, when we share information at EXP, we get paid. We make money for doing that directly with people who are below us that we share information with. But as we get into that habit and culture of sharing information and everybody's doing it, we just do it without thinking about, am I going to make money on this or not? So that's the best thing about EXP for me personally, is the sharing of information. Where I sit down today to shoot a video and Brent ends up telling me in 20 minutes a way to generate listings using technology in a very, very efficient, cost-effective way. I mean, where else am I going to get that? I mean, really, honestly, Brent, where else am I going to get that? Nowhere. I've been in real estate for 35 years. You can go to the top person in your company and say, what are you doing, Bob, that makes you successful? And you know what Bob's going to say? Well, not much. I just know a lot of people, or, I just get lucky, or you wouldn't understand, or I've got this lead generation machine, but it costs me $5,000 a month, or they'll just lie to you. They won't tell you, they won't share anything with you on how to be successful. And so I'm being inundated, bombarded with things ideas and processes and systems that will make me more and more successful. So many that I can't even keep up, honestly. I have to pick and choose which directions I want to go. Do I want to be Icon? Do I want to be a relo agent? Do I want to work with the iBuyer program? Do I want to focus on listings? Do I want to be a recruiter? Where do I want to go? How does the map look for me? Because the resources are there if you've got a sponsor like Brent and Kathy. If you don't have a sponsor like Brent and Kathy, like my friend, who I won't name, who's about to quit because his sponsor's in Orlando, or his mentor's in Orlando and his sponsor's in Nashville, and he's in Asheville, and they're providing really no backbone for him, then you're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of the night by yourself. So you've got to have people around you who are dedicated, invested into your success, and that's what Brent and Kathy do. They're naturally giving people. They're naturally teaching people. They're naturally leadership type people. They're naturally the kind of people that want to find out how things work the best, and then they naturally want to share that with us. So I couldn't have gotten luckier. This changed my life. If this hadn't happened, I really don't know where I would be right now. I was in a low place, Brent. I was in one of the lowest places of my life, and I've been in some low places a year ago with absolutely no hope. And now not only do I have hope, I have complete confidence that there are so many roadmaps at EXP that I can take to find success. And I have support with people like Brent and Kathy to help me do that. And that's the most important part for me, is the sharing of this vital information and really feeling like we're actually on a team, and it's not just talk. It's not just, oh, you're part of our family and our firm is like a family, as they drive the knife in your back. And I won't mention all those firms, but I've worked at Coldwell Banker, I've worked at Century 21, I've worked at ERA, I've owned my own companies, I've been around. And these places aren't family, they're not teams. The guy sitting beside you is your arch enemy, but you're smiling and going to lunch with them. So EXP isn't like that. It's a sharing culture. There's a lot there you can edit. This is what I'm weren't at EXP at the time. See, that's the thing that people don't remember. We weren't at EXP. You weren't being paid or going to make money for sharing that information with me. When you shared that information with me that night at the party, and I should probably put this on tape, because this is about your character. This isn't just about EXP. When you shared that information, I didn't want to go to the Christmas party, Brent. I got dressed up. I got ready to go. I was fat. My hands didn't work. I was in pain. I told Jessica, my girlfriend, I just said, I do not want to go to the Christmas party. I'm not going. And she said, no, you're going. You might meet somebody interesting. I said, I'm going to a Christmas party with my company. Who am I going to meet that's interesting that I don't already know? She said, you got to go. I said, okay. I conceded and I went. And that's when I ran into you at the Christmas party. And you heard me talking to our boss, Kevin, about multifamily development and realized that I knew a lot about that stuff. And you're like, wow, you know a lot about this stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it makes me no money. I'm not in a position where I can actually capitalize on that. I need to sell houses. And you showed me, you were gracious enough to show me all the leads that you had generated that month, which was about 203 leads that you had generated that month. I couldn't believe it. I'd been given maybe 3 leads at our company in 3 years that were all terrible leads. And you were showing me 203 leads on your phone. At the time you were doing that, we weren't at EXP. You weren't being paid to do that. You weren't going to make money on doing that. I would have just been your competition, theoretically, for you doing that. But you showed me those leads, and you showed me how it worked, and you talked to me about the lead generation systems in detail, and you explained it to me. I literally woke up the next day. I drove home that night, actually, and I thought to myself, maybe that guy had too much to drink, and he's telling me stuff that he's going to regret tomorrow. That literally crossed my mind. I wake up the next day, and the first thing I did was I called you or texted you to say, hey, can we talk about this more? Because I wanted to see if you would wake up and regret that you shared this information with me. And you were like, sure, yeah, let's do it. And it wasn't probably, I don't know, a month later, maybe 2 months later, you were with EXP. And then I joined underneath you. Because see, I knew that you were a sharing person that was going to try to help make me successful, regardless of whether you made money or not. Well, then you get into EXP, and they're incentivizing Brent to make Manley successful. So he's doing it like it's a job. Like it is his job. It really is his job. Brent's job is to make Manley successful. Well, I mean, what more could I want? Honestly. So Brent and Kathy, when I have trouble with contracts or the technology of DigiSign or switching dot loop to DigiSign, I call Kathy. When I have interest or problems or ideas about digital marketing, I call Brent, and they help me, and they help make me successful. And I wouldn't be here where I am today without that. I was in a really bad place, going nowhere, and I would be a home inspector right now, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'd be fine with that. And probably a notary, doing closings. And I'd probably be making a lot of money doing it. But this is making a lot of money doing it, plus I have a future through revenue share. Real financial freedom to live wherever I want in the country or the world, and to help other people like Brent and Kathy have helped me. And so that's just a wonderful poetic story for me. You know, that's the way I want to live, with some purpose. And if it weren't for Brent showing me those leads that night at that Christmas party, which was in February, which was strange, but we had a Christmas party in February, if you'll remember. And when you showed me those leads, I realized that I can be successful and that someone might help me. You know, that someone's got a vested interest in maybe helping me be successful. And you had no reason to do that, no monetary interest to do that. And now you're in a system where you get paid to do that. And now it's gone gangbusters. So you took your natural inclination to help people and coach people, and you're able to make money at it too. So it's a win-win. And this system at EXP is the most brilliant system I've ever come across, and there's nothing that compares to it. No brokerage. The only brokerages that will ever be able to compare to EXP are brokerages who absolutely steal the ideas that EXP has and implement them at their firms. Other than that, we are the fastest growing and the biggest, and will be the biggest real estate firm in the world because of our business model. And that's based on sharing information with each other, you know, and getting paid to do it.